This is the book of St. John, chapter 9, verse 4. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can work. Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. And peace and blessing be multiplied on all you brethren, preaching this word in all sincerity and truth to the hopeful elect out there. And to the hopeful elect and the great multitude, men, women, and children, the Lord will have mercy on in these last days. Shalom. It's the brother Dama Agabar here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify and give you warning from Yahweh Yahweh Shai. All right, and I want to open up with this St. John 9 and 4, which is concerning us doing this work, going out on the highways and the byways, preaching this word in all truth and sincerity and giving the warning to our people. You Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which consists of the 12 tribes of Israel, and all you other Israelites, which look like the other nations that are scattered all throughout the world, to give you this warning and to give you this truth, man. The opportunity to repent, return to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai before these, before this world as we know it comes to an end. Excuse me. All right. Because as we know, we're coming into the times to where, the time of Jacob's trouble is upon us, where this devil is ultimately going to ban, this word or any form of truth or any form of opposition to the powers that be from the mainstream narrative or anything that they deem to be, extreme, from protesting to, ultimately, from protesting, from bucking up against the powers that be, from ultimately having an opinion against anything that this government deems to be truth or facts is coming to an end. All right. And we know 100% for sure that they're going to, it's going to be aimed at the men of the Lord and the prophets. We know that Esau is going to eventually, lock down the internet. He's going to make it illegal for us to go out on the highways and the byways and preach the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, to condemn this world for its wickedness and its evil, and from being able to have platforms to where, this gospel can be preached. And, and they're going to come at us through the angle of, all of these worldly protests, these pro-Palestinian protests, people marching against gun rights, people marching against, how wicked the government is, people having, strikes because their companies are not paying them properly. All these things are going to be used to eventually, stop, to stop the prophets and the men of the Lord, and anybody with a voice that speaks any form of truth or anything that this government deems to be, coming up against them, a crime. They're going to commit it to be treasonous. They're going to make it to where you can be fined, you can be thrown in jail, and basically just let and pass unrighteous decrees to where, you voicing your opinion or coming out or marching against this government is going to come with severe punishment. So it's going to kind of be like, well, you can do those things, but it's going to cost you, to where they'll put the fear on you to where you wouldn't even want to do it because it won't be worth it. But, as for in our case, which I'm speaking just for the prophets and the men of the Lord, we know that these days are coming. So this is why, brothers, we got to do this work, while we still have the ability to do so. And the legal, I guess while the laws are still in place so that we could freely exercise the free speech, because these devils are about to come and lock down upon it pretty soon. And that's why we've been telling you, Jake, out there who are coming into this truth, who believe the words of the prophets, to get it while you can get it now, because the time is coming where this truth is not going to be so readily available. All right, they're going to pull it off YouTube. They're going to pull it off the internet. They're going to make it illegal for us to go out there and to speak this truth, to where it'll be a crime against the state, So that's why I started with this, where it says the night cometh when no man can work. And the ultimate work that we're doing, is going out on the highways and the byways, prophesying this truth, being instant in season and out of season. We know that this is about to come to an end, and Esau is doing all that he can do to stop it, as I was reading this article here. And even though it says the UK, remember, this is a global agenda. All right. They're going to test it in places. They always do that. They always run tests in different parts of the world to see how, how people respond to it, um, how to try to somewhat get it off the ground before it ultimately becomes over here into the States. It says UK poised to brand dissent as extremism, reports. All right. Let's look up this word for dissent. All right. It says dissent. It says the expression or holding of opinions at variance with those previously, commonly, or officially held. You see? And this is what they're trying to do an end to, because you ultimately have dissent all across this country, man. Because ultimately America and these powers that be, they're all being called out for hypocrisy. They're all being called out for their BS. So therefore, how do you stop that? If you're the powers that be, just label it dissent. Pass a law to where anybody that speaks outside of what's held as acceptable can be charged, can be held accountable for that, man. And this is what they're trying to do. All right. It says anyone who undermines the country's institutions or values could be targeted under controversial proposed regulations. Yeah. And what's another proponent of that? The alphabetism. They're going to eventually make it a crime for you to speak out against that. They're going to make it a crime for you to not want to have your children exposed to that type of, lifestyle or manipulating or, teachings of that type of lifestyle as being acceptable and normal. You see? So they're going to make, eventually all wickedness legal and you to voice out against it a crime. You see, scripture tell you, woe unto him that, that turns, that calls good evil and evil good, man. It says, let me read some of this. It says the UK is considering now, they say they're considering, but no, this is what they ultimately want to do. This is the plan. This is what they want to do. It says the UK is considering adopting a new definition of extremism that includes anyone who undermines British institutions or values, The Guardian reported on Saturday, citing internal government documents. It says extremism is the promotion or advancement of any ideology which aims to overturn or undermine the UK system of parliamentary democracy. And don't we have a democracy, so-called democracy here in America? So if they're talking about it over there in the UK, you better believe, they want to do it here in the States. It says its institution and values reads the new definition reportedly drafted as part of a national counter-extremism plan announced by Cabinet Minister Michael Gove's Department for Levelling Up Housing and Communities earlier this year. See, and this is what this system does, man. They can just rebrand shit, could just create new definitions of something and, make it be law, make it to be what they want it to be, as long as it benefits them and it hurts, anybody that comes against it. It says the source documents marked official trumpet is its potential to frame a new unified response to extremism. The lack of public debate or consultation regarding the new definition has worried activists who fear it will effectively criminalize dissent. And that's exactly what they want to do. Criminalize anybody who speaks out against them or has an opinion outside of theirs. And who and how much, and you better believe that applies to the men of the Lord and the Holy Scriptures at whole in its entirety, because the Scriptures are against the whole wickedness, is against corruption, and it's against everything that these governments are trying to establish with this NWO. It says Index on Censorship editor Martin Bright called the move an unwarranted attack on freedom of expression that would potentially criminalize every student, radical, and revolutionary dissent. You see? It has never been the British way to arrest people for thought crime. Well, that's where things are headed. This is what they ultimately want to do. Silence all opposition and all dissent and any voice or any ideology that goes against the governments, man. It says even government officials are reportedly concerned the new definition constitutes a crackdown on freedom of speech. You see? That's exactly what it is. So that's why I'm telling you, we know that the famine of the word is very near. And that's why you brothers, you got to get this truth while you can get it, because it's going to be a time to where, it's going to be illegal to stand, to outwardly or publicly stand out, with the scriptures in your hand, or to have a biblical mind view. You're going to have to, be moving out here, totally in the spirit. We're not going to be out on the highways and the byways and prophesying and teaching this word and, giving you warning from Yahweh Shai like we can now. So this truth is going to have to be sealed within you, It says one unnamed white Whitehall official told The Guardian the definition is too broad and will capture legitimate organizations and individuals, you see, because that's what it's ultimately aimed at, is to get away, to come up against anybody who has a platform or organizations that speak out against the truth. And you better believe they label the Israelites as a legitimate organization that needs to be dealt with, that needs to be cracked down upon, that needs to be silenced. You see? And this is what this so-called law they're trying to pass does. I'm going to read down here. It says, prevent, which defines extremism as the active opposition to fundamental British values, including the democracy, the rule of law, individual liberty, and the mutual respect and tolerance of different faiths and beliefs, has been criticized as both Islamophobic and soft on Islamic extremism. It says a 2016 government proposal to further broaden the definition of extremism was scrapped as not legally acceptable, with experts pointing to the many different definitions held by various agencies, a problem seemingly addressed by Gov's sweeping new scheme. Organizations that would be captured under the new definition include the Muslim Council of Britain, Palestine Action, and Mend Muslim Engagement and Development, according to The Guardian. It says Palestine Action denounced the proposal as an attempt to undermine and intimidate our movement, telling the outlet we refuse to be deterred. MCB urged the government to challenge its own extremists who are intent on dividing our communities, you see. Now, what are they doing? They're going to attack these different, pro-Palestinian marches and things of that nature. And this is why, they're allowing a lot of these protests to happen. They want shit to get out of control. They want it to get crazy. They want everybody to be out there voicing opinions and doing all of these different things so that they can ultimately, slap everybody with an extremism tag and deem every single person and individual with an opinion outside of what the government deems fair to be attacked, man. And you better believe it's going to trickle down to the Israelites, to what we're out there doing and prophesying. Even though we ain't marching on nothing, we ain't going to the White House, we ain't out there on the streets with we do have signs, but we're not out here marching through the street, terrorizing, and doing what these different pro-Palestinian people are doing. But they want to, put us under that moniker as well, and to ultimately stop what we're doing and to deem it as extreme, as offensive, as whatever they want to deem it as, man. And this is how they, they're going to use all of these different, uproars of the people, people coming up against the government for whatever reason. They're going to sweep everybody with a broad brush that's bucking up and coming up against these damn devils. And they want to silence anybody with a narrative outside of the mainstream and just seem it as and make extremism and dissent as the new law to break, man. All right. So let me get this. I got a couple of precepts. This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, you see. And this is why they're putting these laws into place. They're passing these unrighteous laws so that they can ultimately get more control over the people, to stop your God-given right from calling them out and condemning, and trying to stop us from condemning this damn society and this world, from saying that the Edomites are the wicked that the Bible speaks of, from saying that, just saying the truth that that World War III is coming. Nuclear destruction is the great judgment of Babylon the Great. All right. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. They're going to, start coming down hard upon the prophets and deeming us as extreme. We had that black identity extremists. Remember, they've talked about all of these talking points, but they're really about to put it in gear as they're going to use these, more of these marches, more of these pro-Palestinian marches. They're going to let shit get crazier. People do more violence. People be more divided so that they can come in and pass laws to end it. It says to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless, right? Because, if they eventually get this shit passed, then you ain't going to be able to say a goddamn thing. You'll be thought criminals, all right? Here it is, you're at work and you're speaking about particular instances. They're going to have hotlines that you can call and people are going to dime you out. People are going to snitch you out for having thoughts that are outside of the mainstream narrative, and you can be arrested and then they can be rewarded for being good slave citizens of the New World Order, man. You see, but ultimately, this is what they ultimately want to do. This is what was this is Amos chapter 8, verse 11. It says, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh." All right. Now, how do our people ultimately hear the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai right now? Is through the prophets, through the YouTube. You know, some brothers do, more controversial videos on Odyssey, or on different platforms. But ultimately, the ministry is mainly upon the YouTube, man. And they're looking to pass laws. They already did it, during the whole demic. How many brothers' page got shut down for ultimately calling out the BS of the whole 1-9er, going out there on the highways and byways, just preaching this word, everything from medical misinformation to your videos were not approved because it was like a hate. You spoke about hate. You spoke about this. You did this. That's not accepted on our platforms. We want to keep it safe. All the different reasons why they were eliminating brothers' pages was just a precursor to what they ultimately want to do, is to deem everything that's outside the mainstream narrative as dissent and extremism, so therefore it can't be tolerated. You see? And this is how the famine of the word is going to happen, because eventually, they're going to, pass laws to where if for us doing and preaching and prophesying is going to become a crime. And no matter how much marching or protesting or how much you can call it out for not being fair and unconstitutional, it's not going to matter, man, because they're going to have it, or they might pass certain executive orders to where all that can be ended. But ultimately, your right to do that will stop, man. All right. It says, verse 12, "And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the words of Yahweh and shall not find it." All right. Like I said, they're going to take it off the internet. And at that point in the spirit, we'll know we're not going to be stupid enough to be out there trying to prophesy and preach, in the middle of Jacob's trouble, in the middle of all hell breaking loose, going out there and prophesying, knowing good and goddamn well that he passed laws saying that if anybody is out there speaking or what they would deem protesting or, utilizing your so-called free speech, you're going to be locked up. We ain't going to be out there preaching. We're not going to be out there trying to give you warning, because ultimately the warning is going out now. This word has gone throughout the four corners of the earth. And the only thing that's left now is for the end to come. But, we've given the warning. We've been out there. We've went into the breakdowns. We broke everything down, and that's why it's vital for you to get it down while you can, because the days are coming to where the Lord's going to bring that famine of the word. Verse 13, "And in that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst." And what's that thirst? The thirst is it's a metaphorically speaking about hearing this word, man. You're going to be thirsty for the truth. You're going to be thirsty for answers. You're going to be thirsty for what prophecy says. But, since you lollygagged and wasted time and you didn't take while the men of the Lord was prophesying and this word was readily available, you procrastinated and you didn't, you wanted to do whatever you wanted to do, thinking that you can get it at the last minute. Well, when it's not there, then you're going to be searching for this truth. Then you're going to be looking for the men of the Lord. You're going to be out there trying to go on the internet, trying to find some type of trace of truth, but it's not going to be there. You're going to try to go out on the highways and the byways and find the prophets. Guess what? We're not going to be there. And then you're going to be lost. You're not going to know what to do. And eventually you'll be overcame. You'll give in to the flesh, and eventually you'll take that Karagla, man, and be destroyed in the presence of Yahweh Shai and the holy angels. All right. So I just wanted to go into that real quick, and just show you that, it's not, I'm not saying this is going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but this is ultimately what they planned on doing. This is, eventually something's going to happen, bad enough to where, this is going to be law. This is going to be put into place. And those that bug up against it, you're going to be, made examples out of, and you're going to be locked up. I saw other video, I think it was in France, to where even now they're passing laws to where if you speak out against the so-called small hats over there, that they're throwing people in jail and fining them like hundreds of thousands of dollars for being pro-Palestinian and speaking against the small hats. I think it was in France. So you already see little pieces of this type of shit happening to where, if you speak out against, if you don't choose the right side, you're going to be punished. You're going to be imprisoned. You're going to be fined, man. So these devils are already trying to put this shit in place. But, it's just our job to give you the warning and to look out for stuff like this, because we know ultimately they're doing this to come up against, the Israelites and us prophesying and exercising our free speech to condemn and cuss this damn devil out, man. So, Lord willing, with that, you were edified. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai for putting the spirit of me to do this lesson. Lord willing, you were edified. Until the next one, shalom.